So let's start with what we have done last time. So our initial task that we have is setting up security. So there are like dependent subtasks on here. So you guys can see there is one checklist that we have is set up database, and the another checklist is um, implementing your so those kind of things are like tasks or checklists that we have. Okay. So these are the term and terminologies that we'll be using within Trello itself. Okay. If you find another software like, I don't know, there are like a lot of software out there, but most popular ones are like Jira, Asana, and there are like what we call there's one famous one is there, which has the common, but I can't really remember. So it's like dominant party is Jira. Okay, so there are like a lot of other activities which will be helpful to manage projects. But in this scenario, what we'll be using is setting up the database and everything. Um, the ticket management system, the project management system that we'll be using is Trello. You will find quite similar things, sprint planning and all those things. But right now, we have a separate way of uh, expressing the idea. This is going to be something like that. So we have checklist in here. We would do what we do is I will invite you guys to create another section, another card from your end, and you guys can assign that for yourself. Okay, right now the member I am the current member of this setup security. So each one of you will create different different what we call a card that is going to be inside our brainstorm. But in this scenario, we'll just look at some generic things that we need to do. Okay, generic things, and we will discuss upon that. Okay, so we assume that the application that we are using, the Lunzu application that we are using is a web application, of course, design based. It's going to be the application that is what we're going to be working with. Okay, so we will assign labels so you guys get an idea of how to assign labels and everything. So who want to go first? Okay, each and every one of you will be joining. If you are not joined to this board, let me give you guys another chance to join in. I'll copy the link. I think it's in the WhatsApp group last time, so you guys can join in from there. If anyone is not joined, we can take it upwards. Okay, let me get one of you guys in here. So first name that I see is Imasha. Imasha, are you here right now? Imasha or Imasha, I'm not sure. AKPH Imasha or Imasha. Okay. You can speak. I think if others are on mute, you can speak. Can you unmute?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's Imasha then, right? Okay, Imasha. What we're gonna do is we will create a new ticket or card in this scenario. Um, uh, sorry. Um, we will add a new card. So I hope you are in the board as well, where we have the Trello board. So I need you to create a card which is related to the design of the home page. Okay, so create a card, and we will discuss afterward how we gonna label these things and everything. You will be doing that. Create card for setting up the home page. Okay, so while you are doing that, next one in the list is um, Nafis, right? Okay. Nafis, you're here? So what I'll do is I will ask each and everyone to join the board and first create a card and add the title. Okay, so before anyone else get it, you guys have to get it first. So we have things like setting up security is done, setting up home page, setting up login, setting up admin panel, setting up footer. So there are a lot of things that we can do within the project. So as soon as you guys join, create a card first, then we will discuss afterwards. So if you want to validate your requirements, have it set in the chat. So I will say whether it is okay, let's go ahead and implement, or we can rethink or revise it. So each and everyone, first, if you're having doubts, just let's discuss on the chat. Then we will create a board or sorry, a card in here that will assign to yourself. Okay, let's take 2 minutes to come up with creating cards in here. If anyone having doubts, just let me know in the chat so we can discuss about it. Okay, you guys have to start creating. If you have any issues, just let me know in the chat. So we have a lot of aspects of our web application. So you guys can take either one of those things. I think I have shared the Figma design as well. Check. Yeah, I have the Trello board. Okay. I can share the prototype if you find that helpful as well. I have shared the prototype in WhatsApp even. I can share it in the chat in here as well. Share. Okay, based on the design, we can take some inspiration. So we have, if you look at the design itself, we have home page where it is like we can simply call hotels, we have flights, we have rooms, we have flats, villas. So those are separate section of this application where you can start working. So we have gift cards on that. Then we have search options on the home page. There is another section that we can start on login. And we have footers. Then um, we have search option. Um, about us page, FAQ page, you name it. You can have whatever the page of your choice or any functionality of your choice and implemented in here. So you can take any part of the application and start creating a project section in here. Yeah. So I don't see any cards creating or anyone having any problem. So start creating those cards so we can move on. Okay, you have to create cards, otherwise we'll be stuck in here. So please create cards right now. Sorry. Yes. Anyone have created a card? Anyone? Ramindu, Vindhya, Shuru. I see iPhone here as well. And a lot of your names are missing. So I'm not gonna. Others create the cards first, so we know you guys are interacting with the session. Create the card first. Everybody should have one card for yourself. Who have created the cards? Raise your hand if you have. I don't see anything, that's why. If you have created a card. Yes, everybody should create cards. Otherwise, it's gonna be a block. The blocker is from your end. Yeah, you guys have to create everybody a card. So we have set up security. One card is created. Another one for setting up the footer, setting up the hotel page. Likewise, anything that you see in the design can be a card. Okay, you have to create a card and we will move on. Okay, there are a lot of things that you can think of when you look at the design. Okay, you have to think like software project managers, developers, all rounders. So you have to make the best out of it. So create, take 5 more minutes. Okay, within 5 more minutes, you have to create. Anyone having troubles? Let me know. If you have any trouble, let me know in the chat, or you can raise your voice if you want. Everybody should create a card. That's it. One question. Okay. So what I asked is, you guys can see the Trello board, right? Everybody have access to that Trello board. I have put it in the WhatsApp group. So you guys have to join, and you guys can see there are like few joinees in here. So once you logged into system, you guys can see the Trello board itself. Then based on the design, so we were looking at the application link, the web page that we were trying to build, the Bloonsu application, if you guys can remember. So by looking at that application, there are several sections or several features that we can work on. So setting up security is one of the cards or one of the objects that we can set up. So we have set up database and everything is in here related to the setup security. So these are like the dependencies which is contained. So set up database and implement OAuth2 protocol. Those are two dependencies setting up security. So likewise, you guys have to look at the design itself, and work on features or work on anything that we can start working on. For example, in the mockup that I have shared with you. The mockup that I have shared in the group. Look at that mockup. First thing that you will see that it has the sorry, it has the few things that we can identify. So example, we can clearly see a hotel page. We can see a flights page. We can see a room page, flats, villas. So those are like going to be different pages in the system. So what you guys need to do is come here and create a card and enter the card title, something like create home page or create hotel page, create flight page, create rooms page, etc. So everyone should be creating their own card, and the person who created the card, even the default user will be added, something like this, the members. So you guys should be here. Okay, so take a feature on the mockup that I have shared. Even if you want, I can share a screenshot for your reference. Okay, before others take, you guys have to create create single card in here that represent a task. Okay, so these are task breakdowns. So you guys need to create on this. Huh? So everybody have to create a card. Is that clear? Anyone have any doubts? Okay. Payment page, good. Danushika Ratnaik, I think. Yes, good. Yes, others also should create. So Danushika, what you have to do is you have to assign other things. So till others are working on, you have to add labels. Okay. For example, if I go to labels section, so we have a feature and a database labels. So this might be something related to the front end task. Okay. What we'll do is we will create a front end label. Okay, labeling will help us to categorize these things. So we have backend task, front end task, DB task, whatever. So you guys have to label these things front end. If it is a front end thing, since everything that I have shown in right now, these are like related to front end. So label it as front end. Okay, you have to do it yourself. Give a small description about it. What sort of things that you are expecting to do in the payment page. Okay, you have to give a description in here. Yeah, that's quite enough for now. Okay, if you have more breakdown in here, add the checklist. Okay, what are the checklists that we can do? Like in our security, you guys can see I have set up database is one of the checklists. Okay, in order to achieve the payment page, what are the checklists that you need to do? For example, create create a page, apply styling, apply HTML, those kind of things gonna be a simple checklist. Okay, it shouldn't be like 100% accurate, but from the knowledge that you have, you can apply those things there. Okay, yes. Go on, Dinushika. Okay, good. You have added the task, add few description, add a layer checklist, this kind of thing. Okay, others also please hurry up. Okay, we have a login page. Yes. So we have two login pages. One should be renamed. So I think Fatima created the first one. So the uh, Nafis, you should find another topic. Sorry, first come first serve. That's why. Create a separate. You don't have to you don't have to like delete it. You can just click on here and rename. Take a separate task. Hurry up, guys. We don't have all day. Okay, we have payment page, front end, payment details. Okay, that's good. You have created a new label. That's fine. Good. Uh, Complete your purchase in just few steps. Enter your billing details. Review your order. Choose payment methods. Enjoy the use of the smooth hassle-free transaction. Wow, that is good. Something like you have copied, but I love it. Maybe Dinushika, you can have some checklist over here as well. What are the things that you're gonna do? For example, um, at payment gateway, at OTP validation, this rest of the things. Yes, go ahead. Think, Nafiz, you have to rename this. Please do so. Otherwise, it will conflict with another duplicate we have. Okay, we have home page. Nice. So add the description, add the label. Tweety. I'm not sure what do you understand by tweety. Uh, Give us more detail on this, Nishat. Okay, it should be understandable when we are talking about the brainstorming. We have to have a lot of information around here. If you want to describe it, you have to describe, or if it is straightforward, the title should reflect what we are trying to do. So for example, if you look at the home page, okay, we are implementing a home page. That's it. Nafis, you have to rename this again. Otherwise, it will be a duplicate. Others, hurry up, hurry up. We don't have all day. So I need everyone to create a card. That's the purpose of this. Practically, you should be able to do these things. Okay, really simple things. That's why I'm asking. Page. Okay, good. Also add the labels in here. Okay, you guys have labels. Add labels once again. Reservation page. Nice. Please add the labels as well. Okay, you have to add labels, description, checklist. Okay. Danushika, you have to add checklist. Okay. Get used to those things. Review page. Nice. Everybody should create, okay? Okay. What do you understand? We need to discuss these things. Tweety, Nirosh, Nishant. Can you explain this a little bit? You can unmute and speak if you want. What do you mean by this task? Because these are brainstorming sessions, so everybody should have a valid reason when they are doing these kind of things. What do you understand? What do you mean by this ticket? You have to be able to justify this. Okay, we have reservation page, we have review page. So you guys need to give description on it. Okay, what do you understand by review page? What do you understand by reservation page? Home page. This one I'm not quite sure. Nirosh, Nishant, can you give me what do you mean by this? Okay, dashboard, at least it is different. Okay, we have two dashboard. This one should be gone. Mohammed Najaz dashboard is already taken, so you can't have it. Take another section. Landing page also Isuru Udana you can't take because we have the home page. So landing page, home page, those things gonna be similar. So you can't take that. This one should be, these two should be renamed. Review page, reservation page, good. Yes, others, please go on. So we'll take like 4 minutes, then we will discuss. Destination itinerary, profile, forget password, very good. Okay, we have profiles, two profiles. So one have to go. Okay, we have reservation page. So there are a lot of things other than that. You guys have the footer, okay, the footer section and all those things. And FAQ pages, a lot of things by looking at the design. What are the other things? Okay, so since a lot of you guys have added these things, we will look into few of these things and get um, an idea on what need to be done, what need to be refined. So first of all, um, okay, search. You have uh, nice UI as well. That's good. So in here, you guys can see that we have several cards in here that we need to work. So host page, database related stuff are there. You don't need so there are like a lot of labels that we need to create. So description is, I don't think there's a valid label. Maybe we can remove that description in here. So do not create any labels that are like, not relevant to this. Okay, so I will delete this label. Registration is, as I mentioned, these are like when you are talking about labels are a way to categorize the work that we need to do. So registration is a task that we're going to be doing. Okay, so we are not labeling these things under registration, but if it is a thing that we need to get it done, then we can label it. But for most of the time, okay, we do things in a way, okay, it need to be done by a database ticket. Okay, it need to be something related to database. It need to be related to front end. So that's kind of technological gaps we are going in here. So we need to make sure that we are in the right page. So at services, even that that doesn't make any sense. If you do not have such a thing, just delete these things. Okay, so it should be short and sweet, something like that. Okay, within the source page section, we have some backend tasks to be done, we have some database tasks to be done, then there are some front-end things to be done. Okay, so we know for sure, okay, these tasks can be handled by these and these people. When we are thinking about the task, we might need this amount of people. That kind of information is given by the label itself. Okay. Um, Backend, front end. Let me change the backend color so we have, idea when we see it. Okay, this is a little bit different. Do not have the functionalities in here. That does not make sense. Okay, so we'll be sticking up to few things rather than saying payment details. It should be something like, okay, it's a task that we need to complete within the application. So do not have things like login, payment methods. These does not make any sense. Okay, so delete these things. So do not go see, there is another one, phone number, does not make any sense. So whether we have front end database, something like that, we will stick to that. Do not create random tables, okay? Doesn't make any sense. So I'm not sure who is creating. Do not create these kind of labels. Okay, the label should be like really useful in order to categorize these things. Otherwise, don't create labels. Okay, keep in the shortest format. Otherwise, what we'll do is we will have like thousands of labels in here. That does not make any sense. So we have, I think we have front end two labels. I will delete one as well. So in here we have front end task, back end task, and database task. That's it. Okay, if you need to have something like, okay, this should be testable, then create a testing label. Okay, that indicates there should be some testing need to be done within this application. Other than that, do not categorize or do not create labels randomly. Okay, okay, that's good. That's a learning point. So For all the pages that you have created, make sure you guys have add labels in here. Okay, so that way we can identify what are the things that we need to do within this application. Okay. All right. Uh, one thing that I need to do is after these things are done, okay, after these applications are done, we need to create what we call these are the brainstorming ideas. Okay, the brainstorming in the sense we need to get together, sit together, or have a video call with all the uh, members or the development team, QAs, and everybody, and get an idea. Okay, are these tasks, the tasks that we have created, are valid ones, like what we did right now? Whether these tasks are valid. Okay, the description gives us more information, that kind of things. Whether these make more sense to have these things within the brainstorm section. We have to validate what we are doing. So that is something that we did right now. We validate the unnecessary labels. So everybody is randomly creating labels. So we do not do that. We create things in a way that okay, we will be having these things. So see again, do not create these kind of labels. Okay. Labels are, as I mentioned earlier, labels are meant to represent a group. Okay, home is not a group. Okay, do not create these things. Please delete these two home ones who have created. Okay. So, so there is dashboard, there is host page. A lot of things have been appeared in here. Okay, so there are like, I'm not sure. Android fallback. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, whenever you are creating things, make sure one thing that you have to remember that title in here does not make any sense. Done. We have to change that and myself. Okay. So in here it's there is our service. Rather than saying our service, maybe we can have our service page kind of thing. Okay, so that way we know okay, this is a page that we are working on. Also I have checklist within the checklist sorry, within the label section. Okay, this is a front-end task that we need to do, and there are some testing need to be done, and etc. Okay, creating labels. Please do not create these labels. Okay, if you are not sure what you're doing, do not create these labels. Okay, it will make these things clever. So we have a testing to be done and a front end to be developed. And likewise, contact details, make sure everything is labeled. So James Mali, make sure you add the labels. Click on the labels and tick on what are the labels that you will apply. Okay, everybody do that within your section as well. So within the brainstorm session, we validate all these things. Once we have validated these things, what we will do is we will take these tickets into what we call into a to-do list, something like this. That means uh, we will uh, we will take these things in order to make the next section to be applied. Okay, so these to-dos, that means these are in the future we need to implement. Okay, these are the things we have discussed within the brainstorm session. We get together, we look into several areas, and we thought, okay, it's okay to brainstorm these things and get things done. So we have the brainstorm session in place. Okay, the brainstorming can go up until the project is ending. Okay, so brainstorm is not something that you might think, okay, let's brainstorm the whole system and we are done. Okay, no, that's not how brainstorming works. Each and every time when we have a new feature, we have a bug, whatever the things that we're going to do, we will have a separate brainstorm session on all those things. And by doing brainstorming, we will validate these things are okay, these things are okay to proceed or not. And some things within the brainstorm session, they might get discarded. Okay, some things might get discarded. For example, we might have thing that is not possible to do. There might be things which are duplicates. For example, there is contact details created by Sandamali, and there is also another contact page created by Nadisha. Okay, so what we need to do is, if in a situation where these things are like, these things are like uh, not suitable within the application, we might need to discard these things. With the brainstorming, it is not final, or it is not something that we can okay say, okay, this brainstorming idea should be done in to do. Okay, no, that's not how it's gonna work. Brainstorm sessions will help us to get an idea whether this is gonna be implemented or not. But it's in a way, brainstorming sessions or brainstorming things would um, revoke some things. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna revoke one of these. So Sandamali is having some data in here. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this contact page. Okay. So what we can do is we can either archive these things. Okay, right? Archiving in the sense we are like not considering this. It's not like deleting, but it is in somewhere like back storage. It's not going to show here. So since this is not a valid one, I can add a comment saying duplicate card. Okay, that means this is a duplicate card that I have seen. So I'm going to save it and I'm going to archive this one. Okay, so I can delete this one forever. And it will be warned. What we're going to do is we'll say, okay, that's fine. So once this is deleted, this is permanently not an archive in this scenario. Uh, so archive in the sense it should like put it in a store, but in this scenario it's completely deleted. So no way that we can recover this. So we have a lot of cleaning to do, as I mentioned earlier. Brainstorming does not mean that it's gonna be in a to-do section. Okay. So next thing, one thing that we have not created here. Okay, so you have a lot of duplicates. One of these things should be get it done. There are like a lot of cleaning to do we do. So the project manager, most of the time, the project manager's responsibility is to get the brainstorming, whatever the requirements gathering, those kind of things. All those things gonna be coming under brainstorming session. So we have a user profile page and we have another profile page in here. I think the same user might be a duplicate. I'll delete this one for showing you archive, and I will delete and delete. Okay, so it's not gonna be in here. Same here, Manisha Taruki created, I don't know, it's saying done. The brainstorming does not make any sense. There are a few things in here. If you find yourself you have created something accidentally, just delete it. Okay, don't create the uh, code more ugly than it as it is. So we have marketing and promotion. I think we have something similar. If you guys find yourself just delete those things. About page, that's fine. So user and user profile, I think those are like both similar things. Okay. So let's discuss the brainstorming. Of course, it's gonna be the hardest thing that we need to do. We are getting different people's perspective, different people's inputs. So it's going to be a quite hard and challenging time to brainstorm such thing. But anyhow, after a brainstorming session, after everything is finalized, we can be moving. We will be moving this thing to a to-do lane. Okay, we call these things as swim lanes or simply lanes. We can switch the lane from brainstorming to do. For right now, what I'm going to do, I will create a card. I will say set up, uh, set up project code base in Git. Okay, so I'll be setting up a Git section. I'll have some labels into it. Uh, um, I don't see a label. I'll hijack one in here. About does not make any sense. I will say this one is Git related issues or project management. Project management related issue. Okay, so I know what's going on. So this is a project management related issue that I need to be following upon. And the main thing that in this project management, the setting up the project and Git, I'll add a description, create a repository for hosting the source code. Okay, so we will be creating a source code for our project. So this is what we call, okay, something like we can be blocked by everyone. Okay, none of the developers can start developing unless we have this project set up, something like Git and everything. So we will have to prioritize these things in order to get things done. So these are like blockers. So we need to make sure we get these things done. Okay, what we need to do is, okay, I'm not sure who is creating these things. Please stop if you do not know what you are doing. Okay, do not create random these things. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is uh, create a description, create a repository for hosting the source code. That's it. And it's a project management. So I am going to assign someone to work with this one. Okay. So you guys can see there are a section called members. Within the members section, what we'll do is we will have members. Okay, these are all the members that right now we having. So I'm gonna be taking care of this one. Okay, but I can assign someone else because given the time difference and everything, I'll take this into my head. So I have assigned a member that's gonna be me. So I'll be taking care of this project management, source code management. So since we are creating with software projects, okay, software projects, it's initially come up. It's gonna be something related to software. Okay, so there are a lot of um, things that we need to do beforehand when we are setting up a project. The first one is setting up the source code base. So as you all know, software is all about running this application, compiling, managing everything. But eventually, somebody have to develop the software, right? Someone have to write the actual implementation, either a framework or whatever. So how we gonna do these things? We will be using what we call version controlling system. So most popular version controlling system out there right now is what we call Git. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about how to install Git and everything. I assume that everybody is following Git, or Git and source code management system. If you're not, please let me know. I can share you guys some resources where you guys can get started with Git. Okay. So we will be creating a simple task. Okay. So since everybody is in one page, what I'm going to do is, okay, this is a priority task. This need to be done. I will switch lane from brainstorming to do. Okay, so why I have moved to do? It's something that we need to get in urgent basis, and it need to be handled within the application to move to others to move forward. Okay, so we need to have this project set up in order to move forward with the other tickets or other cards that we have. So the project is kind of like in a situation where we need this need to be done. So so everyone agrees this need to be done, and let's see how we can get this done. Okay. So normally when we do a project, we will be not only looking at the aspect of coding, but the quality and testing and everything. But in this scenario, it's not going to be a coding related one, but it's going to be a project management related one. Okay, it's easier to manage something like this. And what we need is, most of the time when we are doing such um, so when we are starting on a such detail or such application, first thing that we need to do is we need to have an estimation around it. Okay, so story estimation, or sometimes task estimation, sometimes bug estimation. Those are like most of the common words that you guys will hear. So we need to have an estimation on this task. Okay, so estimations are done in literally in different ways. Most of the time we have like time related ones. Okay, for example, I need X amount of time to complete this task, or sometimes we call these things uh, we have mechanism of assigning tasks in terms of story points. Okay, so we come to a conclusion. Okay, this task is this amount of story points. Okay, so others, yes, we can what we call calculate. Yes, I need 10 hours, or I need 6 hours. That's kind of way we know uh, we 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 know what sort of things, what sort of hours that we need. But when in terms of story points, okay, how do we know, okay, how do you calculate story points? For hours we can use a clock. Yes, right. But uh, um, uh, from using an hour, I can say, okay, within X amount of time we can get it. But in story points, uh, um, there is no way of knowing to calculate story points by default. Okay, so each and every project has a value definition for a task what we call story points. Okay, so sometimes some projects might have different perspective of having story points. So there is no written stone or written place. where it says, okay, story point is equal to this amount of time, a story point is equal to that amount of time. That there is no place that you will find that kind of thing. Okay, so we need to come up with organizational based, okay, um, organizational based, how we gonna come up with story points. Okay, so this is like one of the crucial things that you will guys do. And there are certain limitations when it is coming to assigning story points. So let me get what we call a story point expect uh, give me a second, I'm opening up how what sort of things that where is that? Showing here. Story point. Okay, I think I have an image. Mhm. Okay, share right now. Okay, so based on what we gonna be doing, we normally take the task that we are about to complete in story points. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, this is not something written on a piece of rock or piece of somewhere else. It's not like really standard. It is gonna be changing on the project, within the organization, within the team. They have different perspective when it is coming to a story point definition. Okay. So for example, if you are talking about zero story points, okay, I will assign zeros story points. That means that can be done, the task can be completed within less than 30 minutes. Okay, something like a really small task that we need to complete. We can say, okay, this is a story point of zero. So within my lifetime, it's like really less to see these kind of things. Okay, so you most of the time it's gonna exceed more than 30 minutes. Okay, unless a real uh, big task. So most of the time, 0 point story points I haven't able to work with because there are like nothing. There might be things. Sorry, there might be things that we can get done, but in a real world application, believe me, getting thing done within the 30 minutes, yes, you can get, but other things are involved as well. Not only changing the code, not only the changing color, maybe in the changing some text. You might think, okay, that can be done within 2 minutes, okay, or 1 minute. If I am changing the color, that's the 1 minute thing. But believe me, when it is coming to a task, it's not only about the change that we are doing. We have to think about quality assurance perspective. Okay, we have to think about testability. We need to think about what are the things it can go wrong, and if something goes wrong, what is countermeasure that we're gonna take. So we can say, okay, I will do this in 30 minutes, but eventually at the end of the day, when you are ending the task, you have completely broken the system. Okay, so that's kind of experience we have seen. So when we are giving story points in this within an application, remember the lowest that we can go is 0. Um, but in this scenario, I haven't encountered 0 story points whatsoever. It's going to be more as usual. So if I'm saying okay, this task, this uh, the code that we're gonna do, the feature that we're gonna do, whatever the thing that we're gonna be, uh, whatever the thing that we're gonna be doing now, if it is a task of one story point, that is an indication that I'm gonna be doing this within 2 hours. Okay, so 1 to 2 hours, we can be completing this task. So if I assume that project setup, the code Git base, if I say, okay, this is one story point, so everybody in the organization knows, okay, that will be done within 1 to 2 hours. Okay, so we know what are the story points that we will be working on, and how we gonna be treating those things. Okay, so um, we know for sure that these story points, the numbers that we give, is correlated to these kind of hours that we have. And list goes on. If it is 2 story point, it's a half a day work. 3 story point, it's a full day work. 5, that is 1.5. List goes on. But make sure when we are doing this story point calculation, there can be large numbers. But remember, when we are estimating a task, it should not go something like 40 story points, 20 story points, or 10 story points. That means if you say, for example, I need this, when somebody says set up the, let's assume not the setup one, the realistic one, set up security. Okay, this task, it is gonna take me like uh, 20 story points. Okay, it's going to take me like 20 story points. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to come here and say, okay, set up security, I need 20 story points. No, that's not how it's going to work. So if you are saying, okay, this is 20 story points, okay, this is 20 story points, then we need to reconsider why the story point count is so high. Okay, story point count is so high. If it is like in this scale, 20 is like almost 40. That means 5, that is like 40 hours or 5 working days, or we call it a half sprint. We'll look into sprint, what's so on. But in this scenario, if it is like 20 story points, we need to consider, okay, the story point count that we are giving, the story points amount that we are giving to this task or this feature is too much. Normally, most of the project that I have working with, if some task is exceeding story points 13, okay, the 13 is one of the numbers that you can see here. If it is exceeding number 13, then the whole team looks into that, why it is 13 and how we can reduce that. Okay, so reducing in the sense, it doesn't mean okay, it is a 13 our 13 story point task, we'll do it in 8. No, if it is 13, there is a reason for that to be in 13 range. Okay, if I say I need 13 story points to develop this feature, this product, that's with a good And that's good intention. Yes, we can all agree that is going to be 13. So we will discuss how we're going to assign the task, assign the story points. Right now, we assume that we have assigned 13 story point for this application. So in a nutshell, if we come across something really huge, story points are really huge. We first thing that we need to consider, we need to split it up. Okay, if it is more than 13, as for single person, we would say no, you can't work 5 days all along with this task. What we're gonna do is we will make this task into much more smaller subtask. Okay, so right now we have the setup database and setup O2. So you guys can see the whole project. Yeah, I'm gonna update the story points in here. The setup security, it's gonna say like 13 uh, story points. Story points. Okay, so I'm going to say setup database, it's going to take 13 story points, but I would like break it down for database. I would say 8 story points. And for implementing O2, what I'm going to say, okay, within here, I would say 8, and there is 3 hours left. Oh, you can't say hours, we have to talk in story points. Okay, so altogether the 9 plus 2 is 11, so it should be 5, right? Altogether it should be 13, so 8 plus 3, that is 11, and since I need more, it's going to be 5. Implement O2. Okay, so now all these checklists are combined. 8 plus 5, that is 13. So it is an indication that the story point is really huge, that is given by the card. But we can break it down, we can manage it by simply creating several checklists like this and assign values for each and every checklist that we have. Okay, so similar terms, when you are using Jira or something like that, we'll be using something called subtask, not like checklist. But in Trello, we have like what we call checklist. We will assign checklist related information, checklist related story points in here. So right now, what we have a breakdown story point estimation for that. So always remember, if the story is too huge, too much, we have to break it down always. And you guys can see this chart. If it is the points and everything that we allocate for a story point, for a feature. So I have security 13 story point project with me. So I'm gonna do is, or I'm gonna have that one in here as well, since I'm taking it to do section. Okay, the brainstorm is done, everybody is agreeing with everything, and we are ready to develop. Okay, so you guys might think, okay, how did you came up with the 13 story point? Okay, you're saying that setting up security is gonna take 13 story points. So how we got to that number? Okay, how do we get that number? Is it the project manager's responsibility to assign a number? Or is someone senior developer? Or you just have a random story point number? So basically, when it is coming to story point estimation, the whole group, the whole development group, QA group, project managers, everybody joins up and everybody is responsible for giving their own version of story points uh, to that task. Okay. For example, let's say set up security, and we will ask each and every stakeholder in this scenario, not all the stakeholders, but at least people who are developing. Let's say, for example, if there is a project manager, if there is a senior person, a junior person, QA engineer, all of these guys get together and do a estimation on this. Okay, so there are tools that we use for getting the what we call the story point number. Okay, there are tools that will help us to get all the input from several people. So for example, we have a tool called planning poker. Okay, so these are like um, one of the tools most of the time project managers would use. Okay, so planning poker is somewhat making the process of story point estimation somewhat challenging as well as somewhat entertaining. Okay, so what we do is we use planning poker kind of situation. So we give access to all of the people within the team. Okay, let's say in this scenario, we have Michael, we have Jennifer, and everybody. So we share a link or account for the users saying, okay, we are doing a planning poker for our story point estimation. You guys should join. Okay, so we will send them invitation once everybody is in here. Okay, as I mentioned in story point estimation, it's mandatory to have everyone in the application story point estimation process. Okay, so involve developers. Developers will be here, project managers, and everyone is here. Normally, the project manager is the one who is gonna be doing the playing poker section. Okay, what we'll do is something like this. You guys can see in the screen right now. Um, we have these kind of interfaces, something similar. It's going to be different based on what we'll be using. So we have list of issues or list of features that we'll be taking into story point estimation. So right now in my Trello board, I have two stories that need to be done. The two story points, two features that need to be done. One is setting up project. The other one is setting up security. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we set up these things. We set up the set up the planning poker to estimate these two. Okay, so within the planning poker session, the project manager would take these to-do items. Okay, we have two to-do items. One is set up project code base, the other one is set up security. Within the planning poker, you will have something like this. You guys can see module UI, automation test. Likewise, we create two planning sessions or planning voting sessions. Okay, so first one for the first issue, the second one is for the second issue. And what the project manager would do is first select an issue. Okay, I will set automation testing in this scenario, and once we have selected it, others in this team, in this Sarah, Michael, Jennifer, all the people who are in here is given a chance to vote. Okay, they all are given a chance to vote. Okay, so since if I am the one who is logged in right now, I get something like this. Okay, choose your card or choose your estimation. So while others are also doing the same thing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say for example, set up the Git project base. I would assume that okay, setting up the Git sections is gonna take me like half an hour. Okay, or it will take me half a day. Okay, it will take a half a day to me to reach it. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna look at the story point calculator, like what we have earlier on. Let me get that one in here as well. So in here, you guys can see, based on my experience, it would need like a half a day of work. Then I would say the story points, the voting that I'm going to do in the planning poker is 2. Okay, I will click on the 2, number 2. In this scenario, what will happen is the people, all the people in this group will vote for it. Okay, everyone is going to vote for it. So when everybody is voting against or voting in the application, what we will do is we will come to a conclusion how much others agree upon this. Okay, I'm saying 2, but someone else can say, okay, that might take half an hour. A senior person would say, okay, that is not a big deal. You can do it within half an hour. So I'm voting for 0. So in this scenario, Sarah would say, I would say it will take not a half day, but at least 2-3 hours, one to 2 hours. So I will be giving a story point of 1. So each and everyone in the application development will vote. Okay, but sometimes what will happen is there are some tasks that we do not have the correct knowledge or correct amount of information to vote toward a ticket or a card. For example, if it is a development task, okay, if the application is going for a development task, the testers, the QA guys, they probably might not have a good idea on the test estimation that they're going to do. Since it's a development task, developers have most experience, so they might say, okay, it's up to us to get a realistic number. But if a QA or developer person, without their information, without their experience, they won't be saying, okay, this is going to be like 0 point task or 1 point task when it is really 13 point. Okay. So if you do not know the answer, if you can't estimate yourself, what you have to do is really leave it empty. Okay. So you guys can see in here, few people have participated. Those are like the one who clicked already. Those are showing in blue. Okay, in here there are 2 also, another 2 also in here. But there are few people, Jennifer, Sarah, they did not vote. Okay, so the reason behind is they might not know the correct estimation story point, or they do not have enough information. Sometimes we find less information in that scenario, we would not say, okay, we will give this amount of numbers or this amount of story points for this. Okay, but remember, most of the time when we are estimating a story, when we are estimating a story, we have a brainstorming session. Okay, we brainstorm. When we are brainstorming, we discuss all the requirements, all the facilities and all. Okay. So probably if somebody is not giving any estimation, any story point number at the time of playing poker, or this kind of estimation rounds goes on, that's simply saying we haven't done our brainstorming correct. Okay. So everybody at this point, when we are working with the story point estimation, everybody should be aware of what is the depth and everything is all about. And then or if that is true, they should be participating in the uh, planning poker session. But if they do not understand the context, or if they do not want to, participate on false estimation point, we should just completely ignore that. Okay. So make sure once you get the chance, you have to select one. At the end of the time, okay, I mean, this estimation is done, um, the estimation is done in, in a timely manner. Okay, you don't get like 24 hours to do an estimation. You will get a certain amount of time. Okay, when you get a certain amount of time, what you need to do is you need to get uh, these things in a perfectly timely manner. Okay, say for example, to estimate the story, you will get 5 minutes. Within the 5 minutes, you have to complete the estimation. At the end of the 5 minute estimation, I'm literally saying 5 minutes, it's not uh, um, uh, uh, it's not like, the full 5 minutes gonna be taken. Like normally estimation would take like 2 or 3 minutes maximum. So at the end of the 2 or 3 minutes, everybody flips their cards. So the result, the voting round at this point is not gonna show the amount that you have voted. At the end of the time, at the end of the voting round, you will get something like this. Okay. So for example, in this scenario, this person has voted 3, this one has 3, someone has 5, somebody did not respond. Okay. So in this scenario, you guys can see 5 votes. 5 votes has gone to 3, and another 2 votes went to story points of 5, and there is 1 vote they do not give the voting number. Okay, so there are 2 votes, which is okay, this story will be evaluated into 5 story points in here, and there are other people who thinks this can be done in 3. Okay, so everybody have different opinion on their side. Okay, I might say it is 3 story point, someone else might say 5 story points. That depends. Okay, there are certain things a certain person might miss, certain things that somebody can estimate a little bit higher, someone can estimate a little bit lower. Person to person, that might change. Okay, so in a scenario like this, we have different different votes in here. Okay, we have different votes in here. So in a scenario like that, what we gonna do? Okay, so you might say, okay, if 5 of the people have voted 3, that means it's gonna be a 3 thing if you are believing in democracy or something like that. Most of the time, the people are saying this amount of time. So that means 5 votes were given to story point. Number of story point is 3. Then this is the correct one. Okay, or you can ask the 2 voters in here. Okay, there are 2 voters who gave, okay, this is not going to be achievable within 3 points, but within 5. They normally, what we ask is why the difference. Okay, somebody might say this is going to be a 3-point job, someone else say 5-point jobs. Okay, most of the time in this kind of scenario, we discuss why the difference is there. Okay, you might ask, okay, most of the time the minority party is asked why this is taken into consideration like this. Okay, so most of the time, so there are only two voters who have given number 5. We will might ask, hey, X and X, or these, if you know the names of these two people, we might ask, hey, uh, there are uh, uh, those are the things, those are the things will have to work. So in this scenario, what we'll say is, uh, why are you voting 5 points? Why what's the reason? So these guys might say, hey, there are certain things to be done. There are database to be set up. There are certain things that we need to clear up. So the people who have different opinion, different vote in this scenario have to explain why it is going to be a different number. Okay, so in that scenario, the people who have voted 3 as the number of story point that is needed, they might realize, okay, these guys have a valid point. Okay, these guys are telling something that uh, we have missed. Okay, in a scenario like that, what the people might say, yes, we have missed that one as well, so we need to consider that one to be taken into the estimation as well. Okay, sometimes other way around can also happen. The people who have voted 3, they might say no, even though that is true, you can still complete that within this amount of time. Okay, you won't take that much of time. Yes, we know, we can see that okay, there are features to be developed, but I don't think we will need that amount of time. Such and such arguments, it's not like, you're not going to squirrel, or you're going to hit each other on the points. As long as you can justify your numbers, as long as you can say, okay, this amount of numbers are justifiable, then we are good. Okay, so once everybody is agree upon a number, okay, either we might go with 3 or we might go with 5. So most of the time, uh, from my experience, most of the time, if there are like senior people who might think it can be done within 3 story points or 5 story points, they will be the dominant part. Okay, but not always. Sometimes even the senior people make mistake. Sometimes they forget that there are like junior developers. Okay, sometimes senior developers can say, okay, this can be 3 points, but junior developer might say this is a little bit tough, so it will be five things. So those kind of things happen, but at the end we might think, okay, yes, true, it might go to 3 or 5. Okay, so at the end everybody agrees within the team, whoever in the estimation or playing prog session comes to a conclusion, yes, this is the amount of numbers, or this is the amount of story points that we will be using for this particular task. So everybody agrees. Okay, so everybody agrees. Once everybody is agreed, then what will happen? We put the number that we come across, that we everybody agreed upon, to the board that we see in here. So at the end of the talking session, playing poker, and everything has been completed, then we will come to a conclusion. These are the amount of story points that we will be avoiding, or we will be giving to this particular scenario. Okay, that is the main thing that we need to remember. Okay. So any questions up until these guys? So we will take on the rest afterwards. Up until this, the story point estimation, playing poker, and voting, those kind of things. You guys have any questions? Okay. Let me stop sharing and stop recording.